Welcome to CivilNet. My name is Shahin Arabolian, and today we are with Hacopian, who's a 30-year expert professional in American politics. Welcome, Mr. Hacopian.
It's a pleasure.
Let's get straight to the point. I wanted to ask you about, in Armenia there's this sense of, confusion on why the Armenian government is not using its full potential yet, because as we have seen, they have not. So what is your opinion on that? What do you expect? What do you see in the future?
Well, first and foremost, on a personal level, I will not lay any criticisms about strategy, especially military or political strategy, because it is impossible to do so because we don't know all the variables, we don't know all the facts, we have not been privy to the information that they do or they have. More importantly, we have not been privy to the promises made to them or threats made to them. So I think any criticisms about military strategy or political strategy, I think, are misplaced. The truth is, we'll know all the facts 20 years from now in someone's book. I'm sure there are things that they've done wrong. I'm sure there are things that, there's not a war in which mistakes aren't made. I mean, Churchill became famous for Gallipoli, one of the greatest military disasters of all time. So I think this, I will not criticize or question what they have done or what they haven't done, because we don't have all the facts, and I think any attempts to do so is a misguided effort.
Right. And of course, we're not criticizing the government at all, but if they were to use their full potential, what would that be?
Well, there's a phrase that's used here. It's called the nuclear option, and I think that's it's discussed in policy circles, and that will involve directly targeting military in a much stronger way, military installations, especially air bases in Azerbaijan, or infrastructure, or most importantly, the oil industry. That is what would be considered the sort of the ultimate, what is referred to as the nuclear option, which is something that the government here has decided not to do for obvious reasons, or for reasons that they know better than we do.
Of course. And what does this entail? Do we have experience in this? What does it include? What is it?
I mean, to be honest with you, this is an open secret. In 2012, every year there's military exercises. And all of the military exercises for that year were about the destruction of the economic potential of Azerbaijan. That's what they were about, and they were advertised as such. It was not a secret. And this is in 2012, which was prior to Armenia acquiring one of the most sophisticated missile systems in the world, which is the Iskander missiles in 2016, which will allow you to hit anything within a 300-kilometer radius within a meter of your targeting. So Armenia has the potential and the ability to destroy pretty much any facility anywhere that matters in Azerbaijan and do tremendous damage to it. But I think that is a very dangerous step, and you have to think very thoroughly about what the consequences are,
what the retaliation would be,
yeah.
Right? And what do you think those are? What do you think, in your opinion, is the expected retaliation, or the response, the answer? What would that be?
Well, I mean, you have to look at, first of all, our level of vulnerability is far less than theirs. Because as they keep saying that they are a rich, powerful country and Armenia is a poor, miserable place, which means that they're a much target-rich environment compared to Armenia. But that does not mean you cannot do tremendous damage here. You can attack power stations. It's very hard to attack our economy, because Armenia's economy is primarily service-based. Second biggest industry is agriculture, and then you have the tech industry, which is almost impossible to attack. However, on the other side of the ledger, 90% of their GDP is oil. I mean, I think the phrase that I've heard, which I like, is, if you look at the economic potential of Azerbaijan, they're 5 minutes from Bangladesh. If you attack their oil facilities in a significant way, their economy is Bangladesh in 5 minutes because they have no other resources. And the entire country and the war effort is funded by the oil industry. So they are far more vulnerable than we are. However, any step taken like this by the Armenian government will have consequences and will have severe consequences. We're heading into winter. It's going to raise the stakes with other countries. So I think one would enter this realm very carefully. But it does not mean it's not being considered.
I see. So to summarize it into a few points, in your personal opinion, you think that Armenia has the potential to target large infrastructure in Azerbaijan and potentially cause economic damage to the adversary. But what do you think would trigger this?
Well, it's not my opinion, it's a fact. I mean, everybody knows that, and the other side knows it, and frankly, the world knows it. I think there's only two scenarios which I can see triggering this. One, if there's an existential threat to Karabakh proper or the Lachin corridor, i.e. the ability to resupply Karabakh. Because truth be told, no one in Armenia cares about Zangelan and some of these places that the Azeris have occupied. They really don't. What they really care about is the wealth, the safety, the security, and the freedom and the independence of people in Artsakh. That's what they care about. If there's an existential threat of ethnic cleansing or genocide, I think that would be the red line that could trigger this. The second one would be a far more strategic decision, that is that you want to raise the stakes to interest the world in a far greater way to end it. Because one of the things, it's the last month has been very harsh. The Armenian people as a collective have learned very important lessons. And the primary lesson that they've learned is that if it was possible for our adversaries to do to us what they did in 1915, that the world again would not care and would not act. And the reason that they have not been able to do so is the bravery and the brilliance and the dedication of the Armenian people and the Armenian soldier and the military. So we have learned that. But the thing that is a two-way streak. Once you know that the world doesn't care about you, it also means you don't care about what the world has to say. And if the EU has elaborate plans about diversifying their energy sources, nobody here cares about that anymore. And if some EU bureaucrats get angry about it, no one will care about it here. If the wealth and the stock portfolio of BP shareholders, gets blown up into Valhalla, trust me, no one will care if that happens. So this not caring thing is a two-way streak. And I think there's the thing that people need to understand is that these decisions in some way are not even the decisions of the current Armenian government. There is what I call the Malcolm X doctrine, which is by any means necessary. And this was not a doctrine designed by this government or the previous one. It is in the collective understanding of the Armenian people, and you can say it was established on April 25th, 1950. And that is that what had happened to us before will never be allowed to happen again. And if it means you have to use the harshest methods to make the world understand that, you will use the harshest methods to make the world understand that. And I think the one thing that I want people to be clear about is for the world to clearly understand that, is that to the extent that this country and its people have been abandoned, they will respond when the time comes, and they will respond in ways that you don't like. I'm Bernard Looney of British Petroleum, I would be very wise to have an evacuation plan for my staff, because if it comes to that, no one's going to hold anything back here.
Thank you, Mr. Hacopian. Shahen Arabolyan was with you from CivilNet. Thank you for following.